Big Wednesday night college basketball card. Plenty of action in the Strike Short and NBA campaign on this Wednesday night as well. But, of course, I would rather talk boxing, guys, because let's face it, I got to do these reports every single day, and I get tired and bored about talking about basketball as well. Listen, last night, easy 5-dime winner to start the new week. Big 5 lock on LaSalle, getting the job done against Penn at the Palestra in Philadelphia in Big 5 City Series action. And I've got another 5-dime play tonight as I put my 18-8 college basketball record on the line. This time, turning to the ACC for your contest between NC State and Georgia Tech, and the free winner last night, Oklahoma City in college or in the NBA, 17-11 run with free picks. Free college selection this evening, also in the ACC on your game between Maryland and Wake Forest. But before I get to that pick, before I get to your money-saving discount coupon code that'll save you $14 off of any single purchase today, I want to talk a little boxing. You know, and I've mentioned to you before that I covered boxing for about a 6-year period up, late 80s right through the end of that decade. There wasn't a big fight that I didn't attend, that I didn't call. And back in those days, guys, before the internet, before we had cell phones, those were the days that, you used to go to a boxing match and you used to call in. One of my jobs was calling in the round-by-round play-by-play. So literally, back in those days, you'd be on the phone calling the fight. Somebody would be back in the newsroom typing in the round-by-round, blow-by-blow description, try to say that 3 times quickly, that you would be sending out. And that's what they would send out to various TV and radio stations for the wire service I was working for at that particular time. So there wasn't a big bout that I wasn't at. And I grew up a huge boxing fan. Still the way I look at things, still the best 9 minutes of boxing I ever saw in my life, which you can catch on YouTube if you've never seen it. For those of you that aren't quite as old, you got to go back and see Hagler and Hearns. One of the best fights that I ever called, one of the most controversial, had to be Hagler and Leonard. I'll never forget, I'm doing the play-by-play for that one. And a couple of the other major news organizations had called the fight for Hagler, and ESPN's on the phone, and I just called it for Leonard. And they're going, "Are you sure?" Well, what do you want from me? I judged the fight. I called it for Leonard, who was right. I was, not the big AP and the news organizations. But most money I ever won on a fight, actually, my biggest bet on the fight was actually Hagler and Hearns. The most money I ever won on a fight was actually a fight between Roberto Duran and Iran Barkley in Atlantic City in the snow in Atlantic City in January. I'll never forget of that particular year that they fought because Duran was such an underdog, but I had seen Duran. Duran was a little bit on the psycho side, shall we say. If you saw Duran before a fight and he was a little paunchy and he was joking and laughing, his mind wasn't really into the fight. But when you saw him with that psychotic look in his eyes and he was lean and the belly was tight, you knew it was time to put your money on Roberto Duran, and I did that night, and he hammered Iran Barkley. I was at ringside for that one, counting my money after the fight. But of course, we saw the big news here in the last 48 hours. Floyd Mayweather finally deciding this week he wants to challenge Pacquiao. And guys, there have been odds posted at various times on this matchup dating back to 2008, because every time a rumor starts that these two are finally going to collide. And I'm just going to tell you now, guys, the last time I checked, I think it was at the Stations casinos here in Vegas, Mayweather was minus 150. And if you go back in time, you'll see that, when they first started talking about this fight back in 2009, Mayweather was like minus 160, Pacquiao plus 150. There were times that Mayweather was minus 140 and Pacquiao plus $1.10. Right now, let's call it minus 150 if you can get down on it, for example, which you could have a few months ago when they thought it was more likely an event to happen. Mayweather's going to win this fight. No ifs, ands, or buts. Do not be persuaded by the public's enthrallment with Pacquiao. Did you watch Pacquiao's fight against Juan Marquez? A 38-year-old Juan Marquez, the third fight in their trilogy. Now, Pacquiao took the majority decision. Third time they won 12 rounds when they fought back in November. But did you see the abuse that Pacquiao took? And that's the problem when you're a little man. And here's the problem when you're going to take on Mayweather. Against Marquez, you had 2 fighters, Pacquiao and Marquez, each with 67-inch reaches. But with Mayweather, you've got a fighter that's about 1.5 inches taller if they're standing in bare feet, and you've got a fighter in Mayweather that has a 72-inch reach. 5-inch reach difference, guys. So, in order for Pacquiao to get inside where he does his damage, he's going to have to take a lot of abuse. if he can get inside, because Mayweather can keep him to the outside. He can move around the ring. He's still got his movement. He's not as good of a puncher as he's aged and he's gone up in weight, but as a technician, there is absolutely no reason that he doesn't win this fight. The only way I see Mayweather could possibly lose this fight if he decides to get a little too macho and want to mix it up with Pacquiao. But Floyd Mayweather loves the money. Floyd Mayweather knows how to fight, and Floyd Mayweather knows how to win. Bigger man, 9 times out of 10, is going to beat the smaller man, especially when you're looking at a 5-inch reach advantage. Little man has to come inside. Ain't going to happen in this fight. So, guys, book it right now. I ain't selling you anything. I'm just telling you. If you can book it now. If the fight actually does happen May 5th, and who knows? Bob Arum's such a prick. 80 years old, and he's still such a prick. Who knows if this fight is ever going to happen? And don't be alarmed when you look back in history and say, yeah, but look at what Pacquiao did to Oscar De La Hoya back in 2008. Well, what did he do? He beat up a washed-up, spent fighter who knew, and you read about De La Hoya with his addiction problems. God knows what shape he was in for the fight. And Pacquiao was also 3 years younger. And Pacquiao's been taking the beatings here lately. Not Mayweather, guys. Victor Ortiz, my God, he coasted in that fight. So anyway, that's your boxing talk for today. Bet Mayweather, make lots of money. By the way, I'm 19-1 lifetime with bets in boxing. The only bet that I ever lost was many, many years ago. It was Ali against Holmes. One of the few times I bet with my heart instead of my head, since Ali is probably my all-time favorite athlete. Forget about the sport. Bottom line, and like I said, bet with the wrong thinking here instead of here, and lost money, but 19-1, I can live with that. Anyway, guys, let's talk briefly here about basketball. Your money-saving discount coupon code is going to be PLAYOFF14, PLAYOFF14, PLAYOFF, and the number 14. Put it all together, smush it, guys. Speaking of smushing, Snooki, round number 2, Real World. Second episode of the season coming up today, tomorrow night. We got to be ready, guys. 7.6 million tuned in to watch the debut of season 5 last Thursday, which they saw a hell of a lot more action than any of the people that turned into the LSU Alabama game for sure on Monday night. Playoff 14, and please, my God, will the BCS committee please wise up and give us a playoff, not just for the sake that we can have a true national champion, but for the sake that we're not left with a lousy game, the last game on the board. I don't care if Oklahoma State gives up 182 points a game. That would have been a hell of a lot more interesting watching Oklahoma State or even Stanford with Luck, Andrew Luck at quarterback taking on that Alabama defense, right? Anything would have been better than LSU Alabama. So Playoff 14 is going to save you $14 off of any single purchase you make today. I told you what I have going on today. And by the way, congratulations, Derek Mancini, one of the only 2 handicappers, he and Craig Davis, who had Alabama on Monday night. He won again last night with Oklahoma City. Best bet winner number 7 out of 10 going today on LSU and Alabama. That's going to be his, actually, I think it's 8. No, it is 7 out of 10 for him. 7 out of 10, best bet winner, 7 out of 10, a 29 play, of which he's won 21 of his last 31. It's on LSU and Alabama. How ironic is that? That these two are playing in basketball 48 hours after meeting for the national title on Monday night, okay? So anyway, that's what Derek Mancini has going for him today. You know, Monday, just about all the handicappers lost. Yesterday, Tuesday, just about all the handicappers won here at the site. Never can tell. Let's see. For your free pick, guys, as promised, I'm going to go dip my toes in the ACC, not only with my best bet on the board tonight, but also by giving you Maryland minus the points at home against Wake Forest. This is a 7 o'clock Eastern time tip-off. Terrapins are a 5-point favorite in this game. They had won 7 straight games before losing at NC State 79-74 in a hard-fought game on Sunday. A streak that started with a win at home against Notre Dame, and it had a lot of patsies along the way. Mount St. Mary's, Florida International, Radford, Samford, Cornell, etc. But listen, you know, the thing is, you have to look at Maryland. This is a different team than the Terrapins that you saw earlier in the season. They got 2 key players eligible just in the past couple of weeks. One of them is a 7'1" talented freshman center from the Ukraine, Alex Len, Rookie of the Week in the ACC. Just got his eligibility December 28th, and guy's been a monster. 13.5 points, 8.8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks in the 4 games he's played after missing the first 10 of the season. 12 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks blocks at NC State on Saturday. He is a difference maker. And then, Maryland's also got Terrell Stoglin leading the ACC in scoring. The guard, 21.4 points a game, shooting 43% from the floor. Had 25 at NC State on Sunday. Listen, Wake Forest did beat Virginia Tech at home in their conference opener, 58-55. Pretty impressive considering the Demon Deacons only won one ACC game last year. But, before upsetting Virginia Tech, they lost at home to Wofford. I mean, they lost to them 56-52 as a 5-point home favorite. They barely beat Yale by 1 point. They lost by 14 at Seton Hall. They only won by 4 points at High Point. What the hell's High Point? Where is High Point? I know where it's in North Carolina, but what are they doing only being High Point by 4 points? So I'll lay the 5 points with Maryland tonight for your free pick. Good luck, guys, and I'll catch you again on, it's tomorrow, Thursday. See you then.